Hey everyone, and welcome. Let's talk about something that's getting, well, kind of blurry, the line between what's real and what's fake online. AI can now cook up images and videos that look so real it's almost impossible to tell the difference. So that brings up a really big question, right? Should every single one of those AI images come with a label? Let's dive in. Seriously, it's a question you kind of have to ask yourself every time you're online now. I mean, think about it. You're scrolling through your feed. How do you know for sure that photo of a politician or that video of a celebrity is legit? It's that creeping doubt, that erosion of trust, that's really at the heart of what we're talking about today. Okay, so first things first, let's get our terms straight. The big one is synthetic media. You've probably heard of deepfakes, right? Well, that's part of it. Basically, it's any content, images, audio, video that's whipped up by an AI and looks so incredibly real that it can totally fool you. So why should we care? What's the big deal? Well, it's not just about a few clever fakes here and there. No, what we're really seeing is something experts have started calling an invasion of AI slop. Just imagine a nonstop flood of, well, junk, low quality, often misleading AI content just clogging up everything online. And yeah, this really lays out just how serious the threats are. This isn't just about making funny pictures. We're talking about real risks to things like elections. This stuff can supercharge misinformation and just fill our feeds with that AI slop we mentioned. You see it everywhere, from weird ads to nasty political caricatures. And then there's the whole issue of public figures having their faces and voices used without any permission. But you know what the scariest part is? The technology is getting better and more deceptive literally every week. And look, this is not some theoretical problem happening somewhere else. This number right here, it really puts things into perspective. India is the world's second largest AI user base. Think about that. That means the potential for amazing, incredible innovation is huge, but so is the potential for mass deception. It's why this has become such a critical conversation right here, right now. Okay, so given those stakes, how is India tackling these threats? Let's get into the solution that's been put on the table. All right, here is the absolute core of the proposal, making labels mandatory. This isn't a please do this or a gentle suggestion. Nope, it's a hard requirement for all AI-generated stuff. And the way they're doing it is by amending the existing IT rules from 2021. That makes it a legal duty for the platforms. So how would it work? It's actually pretty simple. Step 1, an AI makes an image or a video. Step 2, that piece of content has to get a clear label that says, hey, this was made by AI. In step 3, and this is key, the platforms, the social media companies, are the ones responsible for making sure it gets enforced. But India isn't making this move in a bubble. Not at all. This is all part of a huge global conversation that's happening everywhere about how to deal with this explosion of synthetic media. And different people are coming at it from different angles. And this is a great way to see the two main paths people are taking. On one side, you have the industry trying to regulate itself. These are voluntary efforts, right? Like Meta saying it'll label AI content, or this thing called C2PA, which is working on digital provenance. Think of it like a digital birth certificate for an image. But then, on the other side, you have India's approach, which is a top-down legal requirement that every single platform has to follow. Now, it's not just what they're doing, but how they're doing it that's causing some debate. There's a key critique here. The government is doing this by amending the IT rules, which is considered subordinate legislation. What does that mean? Well, basically, it lets them create a binding rule without having a big, open debate and a vote in parliament. And that has some people worried about, a lack of democratic process and public input. And this quote is so interesting because it points out a really fascinating difference. Think back to when governments wanted to put smoking warnings on everything. The industries fought it tooth and nail. But here, with AI labeling, it's a totally different story. A lot of the big tech companies were already heading this way. They've actually been proposing labeling as a solution almost from the very beginning. So, okay, labeling is a good start, a really important first step. But what's next? Because when you're talking about a technology that moves this fast, the rules have to be just as quick on their feet. I love this quote because it just hits the nail on the head. It's the central problem for anyone trying to make rules today. You've got technology, especially AI, just sprinting ahead at this insane speed. And then you have regulation, which is, well, it's more of a slow, steady walk. And that gap between the sprinter and the walker, that's where all the trouble starts. So what's the answer? It can't be just one law that we write and then forget about. That's not going to work. We need something more dynamic. You could call it an agile approach. That means we have to constantly be checking in, asking, are these rules still working? We have to be ready to toss out old rules that don't make sense anymore and bring in new ones as the tech keeps changing. And really, that brings us to the biggest question of all. A mandate to label AI content is a good step, for sure, but it's just one step on a very long road. The real challenge, the long-term puzzle for every single one of us, is this. How in the world do we govern a technology that basically reinvents itself every single week? That's the big one we're all going to be working on for a long, long time.